Tech Mandate 2030. That's what we're looking at, where there's AI, there's platforms, and the next-gen architecture from India's GCC. That's what the conversation will be all about, which is no longer just adopters. They are becoming global architects of AI, cloud, and platform engineering. Now, this session here explores how centers are reimagining enterprise tech stacks, driving innovation at scale, and building future-ready digital infrastructure for not just 2030, but also beyond. Let's get all the speakers and the moderator for this panel discussion right away. Joining us on stage, ladies and gentlemen, starting with, we have the Managing Director and Head of Credit India for First Citizens India. We have with us Mr. Rupessh Goel. Once again, could we have a round of applause as they all join us on stage, ladies and gentlemen? A round of applause, please. Shall I say barsat? I've come from Bombay, so I'll say barsat of applause over here, considering we still have monsoons out there. Thank you for joining us today. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have Aneel Kumar Savalagi, who's a Global Chapter Leader for ICC, Innovation Capability Center, Global DD&T, that's Data, Digital and Technology from Takeda. We also have Subbaraman Sankarraman, the Senior Vice President from CtrlS. We also have Mallikarjunarao Ragampudi, who's the Vice President Platform Engineering from TransUnion GCC India. We also have Aradhyula, who's the Chief Design Officer for Fractal Analytics Limited, and Durga Prakash, Head of Technology from McDonald's. And to moderate the session, we have Ankit Saran, Partner, Deloitte India. All right. So the stage is set, and so are all of our speakers. And let's look forward to yet another power-packed discussion from all of them right here. Mr. Saran.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we are between lunch and our panel. So appreciate a little bit more enthusiasm over the session. If we can get some applause and claps and going on. Thank you. Okay. I think today's session is about the tech mandate for 2030. And a little bit about myself, right? I'm a Fauji kid. 25 years of pure technology experience. Being in Deloitte for a long time, little bit strategy has been infused in me. Okay, and I'm really, really proud to host this panel, which has got many years of experience, 25 years of plus years of experience, who are all really proud Indians. Okay, they are all proud Indians who are about driving transformation from India and for India, right? And hopefully we will get to hear some nuggets about how do we make it happen, because this just doesn't happen without having years of experience. You know, all of us came from different backgrounds. We learned the frugal art of jugaad in a very positive way. We make things happen. We don't take no for an answer. We ask a lot of questions. And, you know, the previous panel just made my day. You know, they all ended up saying it's all about data, and I lead the business of data for Deloitte. Okay, so thank you for that. But you know what? As we talk about how this world is evolving and what is India's role, let's talk about and hear about more from our panelists here who are from very different backgrounds, right? Different industries, different sectors, and we'll hear about them. But the way we want to structure the next 45, 50 minutes into 4 sections, okay, so that you can hear everyone, their thought process really well. First round, we'll do a framing round. We'll learn from everyone, okay, in 1 minute only, okay, just to, stick to the timeline. In 1 minute only, what does it take for your organization or for your industry or any in your industry to move from being an adapter to an architect, okay? That's the first section. The second section will be a deep dive about what does this mean to you? How will you drive the pride which you have in you, being a technologist, being a business leader, driving the GCC transformation in your own centers, right? From a business perspective, what are you doing towards? That's a deep dive. You have 4 minutes for that. Then we'll ask a couple of cross-cutting questions in terms of what are the challenges which we need to overcome to make it happen. This 2030 is not a dream, it is reality. We need to make it happen, right? We'll talk about that. Then we'll wrap it up, okay, with their one-liners about what does 2030 mean to them, the tech mandate. Fair? Okay. With that, maybe we can start with, I'll just go around the room. I think that's easier. Okay, maybe DP, we'll start with you. You have been, you're driving a brand which is massive, okay? And in your shoes, how do you truly get the potential of India to drive this brand relevance and being a true innovator and architect from India towards this brand? Can you talk a little bit about it in 45 minutes? Yeah.
Thank you, Ankit. And first of all, very good morning and thanks for giving this opportunity, ET Edge and Deloitte. I represent McDonald's, which is one of the most powerful consumer brand in the world. For us, scale is a strength, but scale necessarily does not have to be a value unless you innovate, adopt, find a way to grow in this the digital first life cycle, right? So what we are seeing is we are serving 70 million customers a day, which is like 1% of the global population, with about 40,000 restaurants across the globe, right? So right now, what we are thinking basically is about a transformation across the organization. We call it as digitizing the arches. Arches is our logo. And this digitization is not just about upgrade. It's about creating value and creating a platform for the fastest growth and making a deeper connections to the consumer while ensuring that the 70-year-old iconic brand is turning to be highly connected digital brand, and we continue to create that value. So this is what we are looking at in terms of transforming an iconic brand into highly digital connected with digitizing arches initiative, where our global office is at center of the heart, and we call ourselves as a digital heartbeat in this digital transformation at McDonald's.
Thanks, DP. Shankar, your 1 minute on being an adopter to an architect of this transformation from India, especially in your world of the cloud, the sovereignty, etc.
I think, thank you, Ankit, for having me here today. I think what I see today, CtrlS data centers is basically a service provider, right? Today, if you ask me, we are one of the key organizations who are supporting or facilitating in the transformation journey of these GCCs, right? Now, everywhere you see, people talk about AI. So where do you go and host your AI? You need in data centers, right? Today, I would proudly say that CtrlS data centers has evolved or emerged as one of the countries, or rather I would say that today we are in Asia's largest rated 4 data center company in facilitating these GCCs in their growth journey. I think from morning I have been hearing from all the esteemed panelists, everybody see India in the past as just an support centers, right? And today, India as a country for GCCs, we have transformed a lot. I see a lot of transformation happening around on the country from innovation perspective, R&D development centers, or even today GCCs have transformed our country as and center of excellence. I think there is a lot of opportunities for the companies like CtrlS in the digital growth journey. Yeah.
Thanks, Shankar. Rupessh.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Just a couple of things, and Ankit, you started talking about from an India perspective, and which is why I think it's important to sort of know this landscape. One of the things which you see is that, GCCs or the service providers started from a cost, innovation, change, transformation. But if you see, at least in my industry, what I'm seeing across the board is that it's now a necessity, right? To have a GCC or a presence in India. And that talks about not just about any one of those, but all of those factors, right? And this is what makes India unique. Earlier, from a banking industry, you would see banks who are 500 billion plus are the ones who are sort of setting up shops in India. But now you see even category 5 banks with 100 billion also setting up shops and setting up GCCs. Because especially post-COVID, all banks realize that this is a scale or a competitive edge they absolutely need. They cannot do without. And that, for me, is a big change. The other thing which I will say before I hand it over is how the new GCCs are shaping up. So you can see their journey. It's 10x or 30x or 50x. The GCCs which are now, which is like less than a year, they have achieved what other GCCs took 5, 10, 15 years. So I think both of those data points is very, very encouraging, both for the industry and the country.
Thanks, Rupessh. Anil?
Thank you, Ankit and ET for having me today. I think just to build on top of that, the mentions from the co-panelist, to make a bold move from shifting from the execution center to more of an innovation powerhouses for any GCCs in India is about having that cultural shift and also mindset change, right? By driving transformation in terms of leveraging the latest technologies across data-driven decision-making capabilities, of course, AI, Gen AI, and most important part about is technology, talent, availability, and also digital leadership. I think those are the core competencies we should continue to evolve to shift from more of an delivery center to innovation hubs.
Perfect. Thanks, Anil. Malik.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. First of all, I want to start with congratulating all of you. Congratulating Hyderabad. We all worked hard for probably last 25, 30 years to reach a stage where we are coming together, celebrating the GCC achievement, and not only celebrating, but we are taking the leap forward into future on how we can shape the world. So big round of applause and congratulations to all of you. It's a time for celebration. So I am very proud. I've been part of this journey for 26 years now. Started off from Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore and worked in the industry for 26 years, like all of us, like all of you. And I think to Ankit's question, the strategy is all about making sure that we are linking we are understanding the business deeply, which was not something that was present in India probably 20 years back. Understanding the business deeply and then becoming an strategy deciders and the strategy creators versus the followers of the strategy. So that's what we've been. I think as the panel progresses, we'll see the living lessons that we are going to share on how that really happened. Thanks.
Thanks, Mallikarjunarao.
In under 1 minute, right? This is a stat, I wonder if you know, that the 60 to 65% of AI talent, worldwide AI talent, will be from India by 2030. 60 to 65%. So with that kind of talent density, I think the questions to ask is, what kind of future will we architect for India and for the world? Will we build an inclusive world with our AI? Will we build a bias-free world? So those are the questions really for us to address. And GCCs are particularly poised for this big opportunity as well as challenge to build. My acronym for what we'll build is GST, not to invoke any trauma, but GST stands for governance, which is governance, wise governance. S is for scale, global scale, enterprise scale, and T is for trusting. So to earn trust globally, as you were saying, it's cultural, much less technological. So this is kind of the framing that we could use to think about what GCCs should be asking and understanding globally.
Thanks, Raj. So Raj, there are no tariffs if you go over time, just to make sure. And you know what? This group has a lot of experience in Brazil, Russia, China. So pretty interesting how this group has come together from just not being very centric towards one geography, etc. Right? So having said that, maybe now we'll get into 3 to 4 minutes deep dive. Maybe, Rupessh, if you can talk about, from your industry perspective, what should be the tech mandate in the banking and payments industry? India is Indian banks apart from the GCC perspective, right? What should we be doing so that we literally not follow, we lead it from India for around the world?
I think a lot of the GCCs which are set up in India are already leading. So one of the big change that I've seen in last 5-6 years especially is that India centers are now the co-creators of their tech strategy. It's no more somebody sitting in the parent organization deciding the strategy and the India operations basically just follow the lead. It's now co-creation. And I already see that happening, especially as I said earlier, when I speak to people in the newer GCCs, GCC which is set up 3 years or less, it's amazing to see what they have done in such a short span of time and how they are leading this. So age is not really directly proportional to what they are doing. Especially close to credit space, that where I sort of come from. One of the things which I have seen generally is that there were traditional decisioning strategies and this came up, or decision engines which came from tech. But now AI is sort of seeping into all of this. And it's new. So you look at, of course, the credit profile, credit rating, spending patterns, but they're now looking at alternates, right? Alternates in terms of, okay, how's your utility bill payments, right? How's your e-commerce activity and stuff like that. The other things which banks are doing quite a lot in this space, and a lot of this is originating from India across a lot of centers that I speak to, is in terms of pre-approving a lot of that sort of a loan. So you go into CRM system, when an RM goes there, they already see what this customer is already pre-approved for. So versus a time when a customer had to apply and it takes X number of days to get a decisioning, to the point where the decisioning is faster and say it takes a day or half a day or an hour, to a point where it is now it's already pre-approved. And one of the things which I keep talking about in different conversation that I have is how Indian banks are leading this foray into this, right? Without naming any specific bank in India, but the scale and the magnitude and the transformation which they are doing or innovation that they are doing is a huge case study for the global banks. And sad to say, a lot of people in the US or Europe may not necessarily know that. Now it's upon us to kind of sort of educate them on that in terms of what the Indian banks are doing here and how they are 10 years ahead of what of lot of the banks across the continents are behind. So that is something we can take forward in my
Rupessh,
opinion.
thanks. I think you brought up a very important point that we have moved from doing X or not X. We have been doing 100X. Our narrative and marketing says has been X. Okay, maybe it's time to balance it out and figure it out. What transformation you already are on from India? How do you drive the narrative and the brand around it for the rest of? Thanks, Rupessh, for sharing that. So with that being said, Malik, maybe I will move to you. Since Rupessh just mentioned, we are transforming, we are on the table, we are architecting, we are no longer adapters, but it's not easy. The journey is not easy. I can tell you, just to convince someone and then to get to people on board. Can you drive your experiences, or maybe how would you be driving TransUnion to the tech mandate of 2030? How you envision it?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and something I think we should all probably collectively introspect and then probably leverage each other's, heavily leverage, in fact, I would say, each other's experiences in being able to drive the transformations forward. So at the bottom of that, the core of the question, right? Any organization in the current age, especially with the rapidly changing technologies, like you started off with cloud probably in the native stages, to blockchains, to the cryptocurrency, to AI revolution happening maybe at an 100x exponential pace. All of this requires transformation. Personally, probably starting from 2005, I have been involved in maybe 10 different transformations. It could be a simple agile transformation to a product transformation, driving a startup owning from India the entire for the world, to a microservices transformation, to a private cloud transformation, and then finally at TransUnion, I was already part of 2 transformation efforts. Now to the question of what Ankit is asking, transformation requires a deep understanding of the fundamental problem where, excuse me, I don't know. Sorry about that. So any transformation requires a deep and rooted understanding of the problem that we are solving. So every organization has a problem to solve, oriented towards the business, outcome oriented. It has to translate into gains for us to be able to be accountable for the shareholders and stockholders, and also tied to our purpose. So purpose driven, outcome driven, rooted problem. So we needed a deeper understanding of the problem, then invest on architecting the platforms. And for being able to do that from India, probably in the last 5-6 years, was a major achievement and a huge accomplishment. When I reflect that on how it actually came to that point, back in 99, I used to be surrounded by so many excellent problem solvers. They were problem solvers. They cannot bring in a problem solved to a solution. That was our limitation. We were always great problem solvers, but we could not bring that solving a problem to a solution that probably we can market it and link it to a purpose and take it into the industry. I won't use the word make money. Make money is the last thing. But it's about solving a problem for the world and then take it into the market and then make it purposeful. We grew. That's what I was saying in my introduction, that all of us worked really, really hard. From being problem solvers to being able to understanding the rooted problems to a point where we started understanding the transformations. Ankit in a session said that India is becoming a transformation hub for the world. I'm so proud. And that's the reality. We were able to actually use all that cumulative experience of architecting, solving the problems, understanding the deeper extent. We have always had the great attitude. We were always hardworking. We were always problem solving. Brought all that cumulative knowledge in being able to architect the platforms. And the moment you take a platform and you are able to generate a platform, that becomes the foundation for the transformation. So for us, the influence and selling to the executive leadership sitting elsewhere in the world, it doesn't matter, really rooted in demonstrating the understanding, demonstrating the fundamental principles that we are using in creating the platform and showing the value. Does not come with easy, because the two sides of the coin, right? One side, you need to make sure that the platforms are built for developer experience. Platforms are built for scalability. Platforms need to balance the accelerated velocity of the feature development with the compliance. Somebody in the other panel was saying about the data. So we cannot lose sight of the data, and data is all about the compliance. So resiliency, scalability, developer experience, accelerated velocity, combined with embedded security and embedded compliance makes the platform successful, and that required a deeper understanding of the entire industry and then making sure that we are delivering the value. I'm so proud that not only with the way the GCCs have formed, but TransUnion, this is probably we are going through a transformation. You will find it in the press. We have a solution enablement platform, what we call it as One True, on top of which all our data products run. And from India, we are driving 95% of the development and enablement of the platform. So yeah, hopefully.
Brilliant, Malik, brilliant. I think it was very passionate. Thanks for sharing that. I think one thing we should all be proud about is, Indian leadership is a family. It's a culture. And we get together in these events more often than any other geography anywhere in the world. It is incumbent upon us to talk to each other, share experiences, and help each other to really make the change. Thanks, Malik, for sharing that. So DP, you have just taken up a pretty difficult charge of a large brand, okay? And, what are the innovations you're driving in that sector, that industry, which will truly, change the perspective that, something like McDonald's, the transformation can be driven out of India?
This is a great question, Ankit. In fact, I don't know how many of you are aware, this whole quick services restaurant industry is currently about a $2.24 trillion market that was actually invented by McDonald's. So the McDonald's, in its own DNA itself, innovation in transformation is there. Right? Today, like I told you, we are serving almost like 180 million customers in a quarter. So especially if you look at the scale, size, impact, what we do across 120 countries is phenomenal. So our innovation thinking is all about the value and community-driven perspective. And if you look at it, there are 5 things that are happening where India is center of the attraction, right? First thing, while our predecessors spoken about data cloud, but in McDonald's, what we are trying to do is everything in McDonald's happens inside the restaurant. So we are bringing the cloud to the restaurant by implementing a very unique solutions along with Google known as Edge Cloud. So why we are doing is we are bringing and we are developing the digital foundation for the next generation restaurant innovations. Second thing, we are doing something known as accuracy of scales. So one of the biggest problem in consumer industry is what you deliver has exactly what customer asked for it. If you go to a restaurant, there are multiple channels you get the orders. It could be McDelivery, it could be online, it could be restaurant walking in, it could be somebody ordering through kiosks. So it is so much stress to the crew to order exactly what the customer asked for it. So we have created a computer vision based solution which looks at what could be the actual weight of an order, what could be the components of it. We actually look at with the AI before it is actually delivered to the customer to ensure 100% accuracy. So we have built a ground up platform known as accuracy of scales. The third one we did was predicted kitchens. For example, most of the times when you go to a kitchen, there are 200 different equipments work in McDonald's kitchen, and we actually measure, we connect, look at various elements of it, see that where is the propensity to fail before it fails and address it. The next one we did very unique in the US market is ready on arrival. For example, you book a meal. Before you actually come and park your car, the powerful geofencing algorithm knows, yes, now I need to start my order. And it actually reduced 50% of the wait times by using this powerful tool which has geofencing and AI ready on arrival. The last one is McDonald's loyalty. For our fans, we created McDonald's reward system where we were able to give rewards on the platform. For example, it does not have to be always the food. We also started giving digital lifestyle things like Snapchat subscription or a LinkedIn subscription like that. But what happened? Before the loyalty, there was an average of 10.5 visits happening in a year by customer. But after the loyalty where we introduced through digital platform, the visits have actually gone exactly the double. So these are a couple of innovations where India is at the center of building the core competencies for our restaurants. Similarly, when you look at a company side, the global finance modernization, there were 250 finance applications across 120 countries. Now we are moving it to one platform, and the global office in India is at center of it, right? And the second one is very interesting. For many of you, you may know that McDonald's actually makes more money not from burgers but from a real estate. So the core software system of running leases, etc., across these countries is actually being implemented and managed from India. Right? Last but not least, imagine if you are employing about 2 million workers and you have 200 applications running people function and moving it to one single people platform. That's what we are doing as we speak. So everywhere, the transformation and innovation is in the DNA of the company. Now the power is shifting to the east, where India is at the helm and center of this transformation and innovation that is happening at McDonald's.
Thanks, DP. I think the timer is, maybe the time has been reduced for us, but you know what? We have 3 more panelists left, so we would request time for them, and then we will probably not do the cross section. We'll do a fireside chat and then we'll close, okay? Okay, so maybe with that, so DP, you talked about very interesting things. You talked about getting cloud to the edge, okay? I know we Indians are very frugal. We think about where to spend, how to spend. We also ask 100 questions, which is fantastic because, if you tell someone somebody do something, first they will ask, why should we do it? What's the outcome? That's the right questioning attitude. With that, maybe, I feel like going to Shankar on the, the reverse cloud, hybrid cloud, and the, where this industry is moving, right? Because everybody is very cost conscious in terms of what is the right set of workloads we need to have on-premise versus cloud. Any perspective on, with the 2030 in mind, where do you see it going? And we probably have to, it's time up there, but we probably have to request some extra time. But Shankar, over to you.
No, I'll tell you a couple of things, Ankit, very short. The first thing, the industry estimates, currently the GCCs are sized at 60 to 65 billion in the country. And today we see this is expected to grow at a 14% CAGR. And then what we say is by 2030, this may touch somewhere close to 105 billion. There is a exponential growth which is estimated given the current trends. And what the other panelists spoke in the earlier session, the technology is evolving. We see this will further progress. If I have to give you some estimate which is very relevant to this growth story, the India data center capacities were expected to grow probably around 0.8 gigawatt in the last year. But we have already touched 1.3 gigawatt. We have surpassed the numbers. And now, if you ask me as a data center guy, we have around 16 data centers. We have close to 250 megawatt of data center capacity. We have been in the industry for the last 2 decades. The interesting part here is more than 50% of my capacity, that means around 8 to 9 data centers, we built it in the last 5 years. Why? The kind of the digital penetration, the kind of cloud technology adoption, the kind of artificial intelligence which the country is transforming towards it is propelling our growth journey. I'll give you a small growth story also, or a small case study. Back in 5 years, we have been engaging with one of the largest US-based customer where he wanted to set up his R&D center in India. They were really skeptical whether they can do this journey or not because they were really reluctant. First thing, they don't want to go out of US. Second thing, if at all India, why should we look for a partner? Why don't we grow within ourselves? And I'm not talking about some small company. They are US, one of the largest semiconductor manufacturing company, right? And they started the discussion with us for 2 years. We discussed. Finally, we convinced them that as a company, as a data center operator, we have a solution-driven approach. See, today data center companies cannot just survive by digital infrastructure. As somebody was speaking, it's all solution-driven. How you are solving the problem, which is very important. So what we did is, we sat on the drawing table, we created a solution. Finally, we built in that confidence, and then we moved that capacity from US to India, right? The first capacity came in, and we have delivered the capacity to them. You won't believe, this is very relevant to the growth story. Within a year, they were super happy with the kind of services and the solution what we have delivered. So in the next second year, they increased the capacity from 1 megawatt to 7 megawatt. And not only that, today we are engaging with them in shifting more of their capacities from US to India for multiple reasons. One, the kind of technology that we are evolving or the kind of technology that we are adopting. One. Two, the kind of cost benefits that we give. Three, the kind of the talent pools available in the country. All this is driving. Now, when we spoke about all this technology, digital infrastructure, these are all backbones for any GCCs to come and consider India as their hub. Otherwise, just somebody cannot come and set up their shop over here. Now, while we do this massive development, we also have a problem to solve, if I have to put this in this way. There are areas, villages, town where we are talking about there is no power. This country has still an underprivileged people, wherein we are talking about 1.3 gigawatt of power. And now sustainability comes into the picture. ESG become one of the very, very key aspect today for any of the GCCs who are sitting in this hall. If somebody is not adopting ESG, they are not going to survive or they are not going to continue their business in this country. So what we did is, as an organization, we adopted, bringing green power to our data centers. Today, I can proudly say that compared to any other data center service provider, in India, we have more than 40% of the data center which is fed through the green energy. And not only that, many the times companies buy power, but companies like CtrlS data centers, we have built our own captive data centers by putting our own capex and doing this investment. I think this is what is going to drive the digital growth story of our country and the GCCs in the coming days.
Shankar, thank you so much. We have 2 more panelists to go, and then we'll wrap it up, okay? So, Aneel, you are setting up, or you have just set up on a journey where you're setting the nerve for Takeda, which is a almost 200-year-old company out of India. Since we don't have time for the next session, I might just ask that question to you. Okay, what are the challenges, or what do we need to address to reach this tech mandate of 2030? Any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Talking about quickly, just to start with Takeda's journey, right? We usually call we are 244-year-old startup in India, predominantly carrying that pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, life science company in the world, right? So before pharma, I think I have seen GCC's evolution. For last 10 years, my experience working some of the Fortune 40 retail e-commerce from North America region, right? I think it's about having that mindset of think global and do local. And that's the kind of evolution we have seen from GCCs evolving from incubation to becoming a transformation hubs, right? So just to coming back to the question around Takeda's tech mandate 2023 and the challenges. So being in highly regulated environment, I think it's been a great journey to see Takeda evolving, from carrying the legacy of 244 years, right? It's a small, medical, shop to now, I think $35 billion company, right? Serving across 60 plus countries. It's about, the way we are operating, from an execution hub in India to more of a transformation delivery centers, right? So different areas, we led the AI transformation across the clinical trials, drug discovery and patient hypercare solutions. These are the 3 major areas, we have seen a lot of transformations leveraging the cutting edge technologies across AI, Gen AI. Talking about the challenges, it's about across 3 major areas: technology, talent, and security compliances. So having a lot of data across the patients and the healthcare professionals we serve, it's very much important to adhere to a lot of compliances. So that is one challenge we face in terms of adopting AI-led initiatives into the core competency of clinical trials, drug discovery, and hypercare solutions for patients.
Thanks, Anil. Thanks for talking about the people aspects. Last, I would like to ask Raj. Okay, apologies to come to you to last, Raj, but you know what? You talked about equity earlier, right? And we talked about the people challenges as well. So I'm not going to ask you about people and culture, but more about from your perspective, what would your advice be as this, the world of data, AI, Gen AI, agentic, maybe quantum is the thing we'll talk about next time. What would your advice be for 2030 for the GCCs so that we can all learn from your insights and think about it and plan for it?
I have a little story to share, a Buddhist story. There is a king, he's asking a monk, the Buddhist monk, saying, what is easier to ride? A horse that is wild or a horse that is trained? Which one is easier to ride? And the monk says neither. It is actually building the reins and the steering to steer the horse that is the harder part. So you can ride either horse just as easily if you have the right reins. So that is going to be my advice. I talked previously about GST, right? Govern responsibly, scale globally, and trust. Trust needs to be earned worldwide, and not in small pockets. So those are the frameworks, or those are the things to keep in mind. My colleague, I don't know if you've caught it, my colleague Sandeep earlier shared I must be in the audience somewhere here, shared a framework earlier from Fractal on responsible AI, which has principles, behaviors, enablers. So those are the kinds of tools that we need to put in place so that the products that we put, the transformation that we are leading, can actually see the impact or purpose, in your words, right? Purpose that we are hoping to create.
Thank you, Raj. Okay, so since we are wrapping up, one word, what does tech mandate and driving transformation from India around the world mean for you? Maybe we'll go around the room. DP.
So it's about
Try a sentence.
made in India to architect for the world from India.
Okay, thanks, DP.
No, I think we should keep ourselves open for any kind of changes and adopt them without any reluctance. That's what is going to drive your future.
Perfect. Thanks, Shankar.
For me, it's starting from a position of power, and the other thing is pivoting. So technology changes rapidly. I think as a country, we pivot really, really well. I think Raju mentioned about 60% AI native users in the country over a period of time. That is the power of pivoting in this country.
Thanks, Rupessh.
It's about taking a bold move to shift from more of an execution centers to innovation architects.
Thanks, Aneel.
Yeah, I would say stay hungry.
Stay hungry.
Right at the lunchtime, so stay hungry. But impact, inclusion, and then innovation. That's what we need to be continues to thrive upon from an GCC's perspective.
Thanks, Mallikarjunarao.
I would say build the reins, think global.
Thank you. So with that, we'll wrap up. So I think Indians don't have a word, they have a sentence. I just learned that. So I will, but thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights. I think please continue on this journey, and it's not easy. We all know it. Please continue on this journey of resilience, the journey of this passion to drive India's transformation, and your transformation of your own companies to drive India's brand within India and from India around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.